The Colts win their 4 next games. So, Colts are currently on a 4-game win streak themselves. The Colts have greatly exceeded my expectations this year. I said 5, 6 wins at most. They've obviously already surpassed that, and it's only week 14, and they're in the playoff picture. They're the 6th seed in the AFC. So, to say the least, the Colts have exceeded a lot of people's expectations, to be honest. And Shane Steichen has been awesome. He's been great. And the Colts, man, they're winning football games because they're coached really well. They're making big plays and big-time moments. The offensive line is playing much better. And Gus Bradley has this defense playing really well. A lot of people were calling for Gus Bradley's job at the beginning of the season. I think some still are, which I think is kind of wild. I think Gus Bradley has done a phenomenal job with these young corners, with this young defense. Defensive line, we haven't gotten pressure like we have, this season in years since Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney. Our young cornerbacks are playing great for having little to no experience. This Colts team is a good football team. They're not great. They're a very good football team. They have impressed me. The offensive line has bounced back. But you have Michael Pittman Jr. He's stepping up. He wants his bag. He should get it soon. Alec Pierce finally had a big-time game. About freaking time. I've been calling his name all season long. When is he going to have this big game? When is Alec Pierce going to take it to the next level? Caught 2 big-time passes. One in overtime to set up the go-ahead touchdown for Michael Pittman Jr. One, I believe, was early in the game or was late in the game. I don't remember exactly when it was, but I think it was actually early in the game. Yeah, because it was a big-time touchdown, I believe it was. So, the Colts, man, winning the next 4 games. Let's go through who they have. The Bengals, Steelers, Falcons, Raiders. All of those games are winnable. All of those teams are winnable, are beatable. You have the Bengals without Joe Burrow now. Granted, whatever Jake Browning we get, he looked great versus the Jaguars defense, and the Jaguars have a good defense, but that Jaguars defense also took a very poor approach to Jake Browning. They played man coverage. They blitzed, tried to pressure him. They say, oh, this isn't a good quarterback. Let's blitz him. Let's pressure him. He's not going to be able to get it done. But, little did the Jaguars forget, they have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. And then it also allowed the Bengals to get the run game going a little bit too, because sometimes when you blitz, sometimes when you're throwing a lot of pressure or playing a lot of man coverage, it makes it easier to run the football, especially if you're running it to the right side to the perfect time, So, the Colts beating the Bengals, that's going to be a tough one. They're going to be playing a lot of zone coverage, how I think the Jaguars should have handled it versus Jake Browning. We'll see how Jake Browning looks. Very good receivers. These young corners are going to be tested. This is the most they're going to be tested all season long. I know they're not playing Joe Burrow, but they're still playing Jamar Chase. Incredible receiver, one of the most dominant receivers in the NFL. And I would argue he is the most dominant when he is on. Even more than Justin Jefferson. That's a hot take in with himself, but I honestly think Jamar Chase is more dominant than Justin Jefferson. Then you have T. Higgins. He's a beast. He's a 50-50 guy. He can go up and catch it. You have, it's kind of like their Michael Pittman. Then you have Tyler Boyd, a great route runner from the slot. So these corners are definitely going to be tested. It's definitely going to be one of Kenny Moore's toughest matchups of the season. So let's see how they're going to win this game. I think if the Colts win this game, they're looking pretty good. They're looking really good. Because the Bengals, they're 6-6. They win this game, I think the Bengals will be over us. So, you got to watch with that. Head-to-head, they'd be winning the head-to-head. It wouldn't be good. Make it very difficult to make the playoffs. And the Bengals, they have a decent football team. Really good receivers. We'll see how Jake Browning continues to evolve, if he could, keep playing the way he did last week. Because it's not common for... No, I would say it's pretty common for backup quarterbacks to come in and sometimes have a really nice first game or even second game. And then after that, it's just really never the same. So we'll see what Jake Browning we get. We'll see what kind of Bengals team we get. What kind of mood are they in? What kind of Bengals team we get? That's the big question. But all these games are winnable. The Steelers, we haven't beaten the Steelers since like 2008. So, history is not with us. But at the same time, the more wins you get against a team, the bigger a record is built up, the more the likelihood of it being broken at the same time. So it has to end sometime. it has to end at some point. And the Steelers, they're a very good defensive team. That defensive line, T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, they're going to get after Minshew all day long. They're going to give these tackles a run for the money. Bernard Ryman has had a great season. They're going to give him a run for his money. Brandon Smith has had a really good season. They're going to give him a run for his money. Even in the interior, they're really good. Passing defense, they have some they have some decent guys. Minka. They have I think they have a former Colt at linebacker. I'm not exactly sure or remember who, but I think they picked up a former Colt. I don't remember who though, to be honest with you. Or maybe I may be completely wrong, but they do have Joey Porter Jr. He's made some strides the last couple of weeks here and there, so they definitely have some playmakers there. They have some nice playmakers in defense. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very low-score game. It could be a lot like the Patriots game. But we'll have Grover Stewart back as well. So that's something else I forgot to mention. We're going to have Grover Stewart back. That's going to make a big difference in us stopping the run. And the Bengals, they want, if we could stop the run against Joe Mixon and force them to pass it, maybe force Jake Browning to make a mistake or two, I think we got a good shot. Steelers, we could stop the run. And I don't know who's going to be playing at the time. I don't know how, the severity of Kenny Pickett's injury, whether it's Pickett or Trubisky. If you could force them to beat you, I think you got a pretty good chance there. The Falcons, that's going to be a tough running game to stop. Bijan, Algier, we will have Grove back. Hopefully Desmond Ritter tends to throw 2 or 3 interceptions a game, so that could be a big plus. You have the Raiders. Within this 4-game stretch, you have the Bengals, the Steelers, the Falcons, and the Raiders. Last game, you have the Texans, which I think might be for a playoff spot. So, do the Colts win all 4? Do they really go on an 8-game win streak? I'm going to go hot. I'm going to say it's very unlikely. They're bound to lose one of these games, whether it's the Bengals, the Steelers, the Falcons, the Raiders. They're bound to lose to one of them. It's bound to happen. So, I'm going to go hot just because, I think the Colts are a very good football team, yes. But they're young, and they're bound to slip up here and there. They're bound to have a game where one time it doesn't go their way.